Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Ever since 18-year-old student athlete Nolan Wells' body was discovered in Mississippi after hanging out with his white friends while boating, there's been a lot of public discourse about race, especially black kids hanging out with white kids. Well, black people hanging out with white people in general, especially white people. White people have been extremely critical of white people in regards to these black-white friendships. Yeah, so-called friendships, right? Here's a white woman who says that she schools her kids on checking their white friends or family members who they may suspect of being racist. Check it out.
Mississippi, and on the 4th of July, my son's best friend came with us to my family's get together, and their friend is black, and he was the only black person. My son's friend was obviously going to be protected with us, as are all of our black friends, because I'm very aware of how racist people can be in Mississippi. And I even told my kids before we left for my family's 4th of July thing that if anyone said anything racist, that they knew that their mama was going to speak up, say something, because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're my own family. I'm going to call you out on your racist BS. And that we would immediately leave, because I'm not going to tolerate that ever. So my kids know that about me, but I also want to make sure that they know that we have to speak out no matter who it is. I don't care if it's family. People come out and are saying, you need to warn your kids about being the only black person amongst a group of white people, especially in certain places around here. Very much so. I agree with it. I'm always telling my kids, if you are with your friends who aren't white and you're around any certain area and someone comes out saying racist stuff, you have to be the one that speaks up. You have to intervene. When my kids were little and they would go play basketball at another guy's house, his neighbor always hung a Confederate flag. And I would tell my boys, if y'all are set on playing basketball there at your friends, please know if that man ever comes outside of that house, you have to be the one to speak to him. Do not let your black friends try to say anything, because you never know what that man might do to them. So as a white parent who was very aware of the racism here and everywhere, in most places, unfortunately, it is my job to make sure I educate my children, simply not on being not racist, but I want to teach them, and I do teach them, how to be anti-racist and how to use the privilege that they have as a white person around here to make sure that they're the ones speaking up and intervening to protect all their friends who aren't white, because they're going to be viewed differently than their black friends. And so they have to do that. They have to step in. So if you're a white person and you get offended by people saying, don't let your black children be the only black person going somewhere with a white family, we should not be offended. We should be very aware of what they have to deal with all the time. And it doesn't matter if we're the exception to that rule. We should understand where they're coming from, and then also do our part to make sure we're educating our children on how to be better stewards of the privilege that they have, especially in these places, and to make sure that they're protecting their friends.
So, number one, she's absolutely right about speaking out. See, if more white people spoke out and shamed the uncivilized mutts who they claim not to be, then this problem wouldn't be as persistent as it is. If just one of those boys would have stood up and said, it's not going down like that, no, hell no, they would have backed off. We see that happen a lot of times, even when people are dealing with the police. The police will back down. It could be a little kid. It could be a 15-year-old kid telling, no, that's my friend. No, don't handle him like that. No. And the police back down. I've seen it. I've seen it happen many, many times. So she got the right idea, being proactive. Like, it's not enough that you're not racist. You got to be anti-racist. Anti means action. See? That's action behind that. You can't just, see it and be like, oh, that's messed up, and look the other way. We've seen enough of that going all the way back to slavery. where there was white people who didn't own slaves, and they were like, well, I'm not like that. I'm one of the good ones. I'm better. No, you're not, because silence is complicity. Now, here's a white guy who talks about how what if Nolan was a little white blonde girl? What do you think the results would have been if you put the shoe on the other foot and some little white girl went missing hanging out with her black friends? You think anybody would still be in jail without a bond right now? Yeah, check it out.
Promise you, them little white boys had something to do with this shit. This is getting insane. This is like, what, 4 or 5 deaths already in the past couple months? Let a little blonde white girl die, and people act like they don't know what's going on. The killer's gonna get found the same day. But these black kids are dying. They getting killed. Nobody knows what happened, though. No, we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. Bullshit!
Have a true, open, honest discussion about this whole Nolan Wells case. Huh? Okay, let's do it. What if Nolan had looked like this? What if he had been a white boy? You think for a second would not been handcuffed the motherfucking second they brought that phone back to that mama? Think for a second every major fucking influencer in the world would have been jumping on board on this, saying something's fishy about this? Because he's black, it's different. Oh, you don't believe me? Okay, let's do this real quick. Since July 4th, how many videos of these teen takeover mobs have you seen that look like this? Or this? And how many have you seen that look like this? I bet not a fucking lot. Simple fucking fact of the matter is, media, in particular, social fucking media, wants to paint the black community as a bunch of fucking wild animals. So that when situations like the Nolan Wells situations occurs, nobody gives a fuck. Well, you know what? That's why in my bio here it says champion for motherfucking all. I don't give a fuck about your race. I don't care who you fuck. I don't care about your politics. And I don't give a fuck about the color of your skin. Something about this case is fucking fishy. Something is off. And even if those boys didn't do it themselves, stop calling them his fucking friends, because they left that young man on the island with fucking strangers and he never came home. That's the bottom fucking line. Don't you dare tell me that if Nolan had looked like this right here, things would not have been handled differently, because they abso-fucking-lutely would have. Those of you in my comment section saying don't make this about fucking race, pull your fucking head out of your ass and wake the fuck up until you admit that people of all colors are treated fucking differently in this country. Specifically when it comes to shit like what happened to Nolan Wells, you will always be a part of the fucking problem and not a part of the fucking solution.
Now, what he's trying to say is, we leave together, we come back together. No man left behind, no child left behind, no woman left behind, no girl left behind. We leave together, we come back together. We know damn well what happened out there. Oh, we don't know exactly how they did it, but there was an argument on that boat between Nolan and the other boys. That was an argument. And the other boys end up coming back home, and Nolan ends up dead. He's dead. They go home like nothing ever happens. But you know what they did do? They took his phone and they erased his messages. They erased some of his messages. They had his phone. Who do you know? You know what? I'm going to let this guy that's coming up next answer the question. You know, I was about to say, who do you know? What youngster do you know that would leave their phone behind while they go 10 miles off the damn coastline to go kick it? They're going to go 10 miles away from the inland to go kick it on an island without their phone. Check this out.
Nolan Wells was murdered, but people are afraid to say that. You can't tell me that he wants to stay on a fucking island 10 miles off the coast without his phone or wallet, and his friends are like, oh, he just wanted to stay there. Really? How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Okay? Especially, you know, it just hurts because I have a lot of black people that I'm close to in my life, and to see how like a young black man's life was just thrown out and there was no regard for it at all, and people, and you have media talking about how he chose to stay out there's no foul play suspected. When are black people going to get the same treatment and the same justice that white people do? It's absurd, and it happens again and again, and nobody does anything about it. It just keeps happening. Okay, say his name. Nolan Wells, say his name.
Fuck, this is gonna be a hard video to make. I just went through my DMs, and the amount of people from the black community that are reaching out to me just telling me thank you for speaking out is fucking overwhelming. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry this is happening. I wish I could do more to make the world a better place, man. I really do. But I'm just one person. But I promise you I will continue to use my platform for the forces of good. Until white supremacy and capitalism are destroyed, I will not rest. Ever. So thank you guys for all the support and all the kind words. This shit really made my day. Love y'all.
Now, here's a guy who talks about his college experience and how he almost lost his life to his so-called friends. Well, friends of a friend. This is a really strong reminder, fam, that you have to be so good at picking friends that your friends are good at picking friends. Because your friend can bring somebody around you who is hot, meaning that that person got somebody looking for them. They might want to kill them, and you end up in the car and start shooting you dead too. Or that person might be somebody who just got a grudge against you, don't like you for whatever reason, don't even see you as a human being. And, you know, they may have a hidden agenda. And they might just have it in their mind like, you know what? I need to revisit the past, because that's what all that Confederate stuff is about. You know, they holding on to the past, a time when white folks used to be able to murder and beat and destroy black bodies with impunity. So there are those out there that have this deep-seated desire to harm black bodies, and you never know who it is. That's why you got to be extremely careful. This guy tells an ominous story about how he almost lost his life to a bunch of drunk white dudes. Check this out.
For people of color that go to college, be wary of the white people that go to your college. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a little college party, right? I was going with someone who I thought was my friend at the time, and he had some, you know, privileged white boys that he knew at the party. The motherfuckers got too drunk, and I didn't drink for shit. I didn't drink at all. I did not like the vibe. I did not like them. So I left, and while I was leaving, they told me not to leave, right? And they got too close, and I did like a little, like, get the fuck off me, right? And I guess these motherfuckers had chicks around, so they felt like threatened. And a few minutes later, I get 4 of these white motherfuckers banging on my window, calling me the hard R, right? And I'm ready to scrap, right? These motherfuckers are soft as hell. But then I regained consciousness, right? And thought, if I go crazy and beat the brakes out of these motherfuckers and the cops get called, who are they going to believe? Are they going to believe me? Or are they going to believe the 4 privileged white boys, right? So I turned on my car and just left. And some days later, one of my supposed homeboys invites them to a get-together we had at another friend's house, right? And they wanted to apologize. And they wanted everyone to go to the beach with some girls, bruh. You know, that was their selling point, by the way. Like, there's gonna be some girls, bruh. There's gonna be some chicks, bruh. But I obviously said no. And left the get-together immediately. But the point being, these motherfuckers don't look at you as human. Us and them were not raised the same way. They won't hesitate to rob, drug, or assault you. And it's funny to them because they don't see us as actual human beings. So be careful who you surround yourself with.
Then we got this white woman who tells white parents, you know, that they should have the talk with their white children.
I want to just have a quick check-in with all the white parents. White parents, how are we talking to our children who have black friends? Because the black community is talking to their children about if they can trust their white friends. So how are we as white parents talking to our white children about how they are to show up for their black friends? I had a conversation with our white son, and we also have to have conversations with our black children about potentially not trusting people who look like their parents. That those people who look just like the parents who surround them and love them might not be the safest people for them to be with. They might not be the people who are going to have their backs. So, white parents with white children, are you having those conversations about how your white children are going to show up and bring home their black friends?
What if the situation was reversed? That's the big question. A lot of people are asking that question, including this woman.
All about Nolan Wells. But before I do that, I want to note that Nolan's mom does follow me, and in the event that she or other family members come across this video, please keep the comments respectful and in line with uplifting a family who just tragically lost their son. If there's any kind of nasty comments, racist comments, conspiracy theory type comments, my comment section is not the place for that. You will be blocked. This is someone's real life, okay? This is someone's son. This is not a fodder for content. This should not have been Nolan Wells last summer. Nolan Wells was someone's baby. He was 18 years old, set to turn 19 next month, set to go back to playing football at his local community college. He was very well liked. He got along with everybody. He was radiant. He was a leader. And he went out with 3 friends. They went out to an island. His 3 friends returned to the mainland without him. And all 3 of those friends are white. And I know that when I say that, there are white people watching this who are immediately going to say, well, we don't know what happened. And y'all, this is the difference. If the situations were reversed, if the circumstances were reversed, and it was 3 black boys who took a white boy out, and the 3 black boys came back and the white boy did not, it wouldn't matter that they didn't know what happened. Those 3 black boys would have been in handcuffs.
And that's all I got to say, fam. And I apologize for cutting off, fam, but she said a mouthful right there. If it would have been 3 black boys hanging out with that white boy there who they called a friend, and that white boy didn't come back home, they would be still questioning them. Right now, today is the 10th. He went missing on the 4th. So 6 days in a row, they wouldn't have been no. They'd been trying to fall asleep. Hey, get up, we got more questions. Yeah, that's how that would have went. It's a cold-blooded game, man. And I am so glad to see other people are now speaking up. I'm glad to see so many white people speaking up. And it's way more than the people that I actually showed. It's just a few people that I highlighted, but it's way more white people speaking up. I'm talking about like way more than I've ever seen speaking out against these type of situations. I don't know what happened, but somebody's waking up. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And to every single white person that is brave enough to speak up and speak out on this, I ain't got no problem with that. No more talk.